Hi, everybody, and welcome to another session of Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. And we are back, and thank you for being with us. This is Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, and it's a weekly forecast with tarot for the emotional ups and downs, currents, undercurrents, situations, lovers, strong relationships, all that stuff in a weekly forecast for each of the signs as determined by their elemental association. So if it's possible you've listened before and you didn't exactly relate, keep in mind that in astrology you can have other influences from other parts of the zodiac. So for example, your moon sign or your rising sign may not be the exact same as your sun sign, the sign you were born under. So check out the whole my whole forecast, because there may be some other aspects there that you can also relate to. At any rate, we always start off with our air signs. So let's get started. And giving all honor to the Egyptian deities of love and relationships too. But air signs are signs such as Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Okay, and so if you know you're that sign, then you know that's good. We pulled a word of the week for you guys, and that word of the week is passion. So, passion is your word of the week, and you may want to think about that as you have to apply the various energies or situations of your life into little compartments or little situations to kind of keep them together. Go about this with a passion for what you do, for trying to achieve those equalities in relationships or resolvements of misunderstandings or whatever that stuff is. Just go ahead and do that. So now we're going to pull our 3 cards of the week for those guys. First, we have to shuffle. And once again, this is for the air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. If you are interested in astrology, you can also check out our monthly modality message. We just posted one as we moved into Pisces, so look for that on our YouTube channel. And the modality message is different from this one because it really takes into account other kinds of energies that are present in an astrological chart. I don't want to explain that too much now, but check that out if you can. So here we are, and we are going to pull our cards after we cut. And what do we have? Okay, so I'm going to move that. We have the 7 of Wands reversed. We have the Hanged Man reversed. And we have the 9 of Discs or coins or pentacles in other decks. And that's also reversed. So this is for air signs. The 7 of Wands sort of indicates a shift in a relationship that you may be having. It may be one of your more important relationships. Some of this shift may be upon the idea that somebody within that relationship does not want to give up something for the good of either part in this relationship or what the situation may be about. And consequently, somebody is feeling that this leaves them in a less than desirable position, the 9 of Discs, that they are being forced to possibly move from an area of comfort or feeling to deal with this situation. So remember what I said about your sign being, or your word of the week being passion. Keep that in mind. You may have to really look at things with a different sense of emotionality than you have been. Air signs maybe sometimes tend to be a little bit more intellectually driven, even in the arena of emotions. So consider that. Like I said, somebody, maybe it's you, maybe it's the other persons in this relationship, will be having to consider their sacrifices that they should possibly make. So that's what we have for you guys, the air signs. So now we are going to move on to our fire signs. Fire signs are signs such as Aries, like the Banshee, my partner in TFT, or they're also like Leo, and they are also Sagittarius. And they have a word of the week too, and that word of the week is from this card, which says the provider. So I'm thinking the word is actually provide. And so fire signs, some of them, I know them all too well. They can be very me oriented. They can be very generous, but they can also be very me first. And this may say that your word of the week calls upon you to also consider that you may have to provide for others too. Just going to say it like that. So that's what we have for you, is keep in mind that there are people who need what you can give them, fire signs. All right. Now we're going to move on to that reading, and we're going to shuffle the cards again. See what's going on for the fire signs. And remember, this reading is good for today, Friday, February 28th, through next Thursday, which is March the 5th. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. And we are having those cards pulled right now. And we have the Six of Swords reversed. And we have Strength upright. That's a pretty card. Sekhmet. And we have the Tower reversed. And I know that oftentimes I don't see the Tower reversed the same way as Banshee, or perhaps even a lot of other readers do. But we're going to get to that in a moment. We'll see. I'd like to take a sip of my coffee here. Now, the Six of Swords reversed tells me that within some fire signs relationships, there seems to be the need to possibly remove yourself from some emotionally overwhelming or sad situations. But what you may be finding is that you have faced the realization that actually this movement is not exactly possible, or will not exactly be able to remove those situations. In other words, you really need to have some strength. Consider those principles from your heart. What is the strongest power and strength is our compassion, and that you may need to just deal with that. It seems like it's maybe tied into your card of the week, the provider, provide. I'm also seeing that Tower reversed, and that does seem to indicate to me that maybe there is some moment of reflection that brings balance in terms of what your regrets are versus what you know you just simply have to do. And so that's what I'm telling you guys in the fire signs, is that sometimes, obligations are not always fun. I hate them myself. I guess I have a little bit of fire sign in me somewhere too. But I think that's for everybody. And so fire signs are just going to be finding this more intense for them this week. And I want to tell everybody too, remember that Mercury is also retrograde. So a lot of things here that may resolve around decisions or communications or understandings that we're trying to have or think we have, these can be a little bit sketchy. They could be problematic. So just try to be open minded and remember, we got about 2 more weeks to go. It's been about a week. And that could be what's happening too, is that some of this is because of that. I know that I'm also feeling the effects in terms of computers and electronics, but I also think there's always that human element too. At any rate, so that's what we have. Remember, be kind, and that really goes for every sign. Try to be kind. Um, all of us here in our spiritual metaphysical communities actually do get that. So I thank and admire all of you. You're all doing a great job. You're wonderful. Spread the word about tarot for today, if you will. Like this video. Go to our live stream. Our stream schedule is at the bottom of the stream at the screen. We're going to get started now on our water signs. Water signs are signs like me, Scorpio, but they are also signs like Cancer and Pisces. And they tend to be more emotional. And there's a range of emotionality. It's not just about crying a lot. I admit I cry. It can be about how we harbor hurts too. And that sometimes some of our water signs don't always know how to express themselves. And so they let things build up. And so that's never good either. But emotions cause a lot of situations, including being more secretive in general, not necessarily about what's bothering us but maybe about things that we should be talking about. At any rate, the word of the week for water signs is avarice. And avarice is one of those antiquated, old-fashioned words that we hear about. Maybe it's biblical or something, I don't know. But avarice means greed. It means covetous natures. And so I'm warning all water signs, including myself, to be careful what you are really lusting after. Be sure it's in proportion to what your needs truly are. And if you have a fairly good life, then you should be happy and keep that in proportion. It's not wrong to lust after something or to be greedy about something necessarily, but are you hurting others in that acquisition or seeking acquisition? So that's what I'm saying to you guys, okay? So at any rate, we're going to move on now and do your reading. Keep your word of the week in mind, all you guys. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards. And we'll just say, it's sad not having the Banshee here more often as a guest star. I thought it was a lot of fun when she was here. So if you happen to think that was true, and if you don't remember, during our Super Tarot Love Week, which was during the week that encompassed and ended on Valentine's Day, so about the 8 days, because the power of love is 8 days a week, baby. Anyway, if you want to see Banshee more often on my show, leave a comment here. Leave comments in the live stream. Send us emails. We're at Gmail, TFT Tarot for Today, one word, at Gmail. You can also leave us a message at our Facebook. Has a TFT Tarot for Today. Just look for that. And there is an inbox there. You can leave us a message there. We're on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, TFT Tarot #4 Today. And that's our Twitter address. And Banshee mostly is there. So if you drop her a note and let her know, hey, Banshee, you're awesome. You're even better than that Oberon dude. Okay, maybe I don't want you to say that. But who knows, She might appear more often. Alrighty, I think I've shuffled these enough for the water signs. So we are cutting them. And what do we have? Well, it's interesting. We have a better round of not reversed cards. So we have the Three of Wands upright. And we have the Queen of Cups upright. Well, that's pretty handy for a water sign, eh? And then we also have the Nine of Cups reversed. And that's kind of a boo-hoo. I'll get to that. So Three of Wands tells me that some of us water signs really feel like we sort of got it in the bag and we're just waiting on it to happen. And we're very empowered by our Queen of Cups energies, which are basically uh, pretty much amongst the highest of emotions, the kindness, the beneficence, the applying love to all things that it can be applied to, which is pretty much everything. But the Nine of Cups says that somehow some of this maybe isn't really worth our while, having this acquisition. And again, it's talking about that. So maybe it is saying that, water signs, maybe you're going to have a challenge this week. Maybe you are going to be offered your true heart's desire, and all it takes is maybe, not being so nice to somebody else, and so you have to really weigh that, because maybe you are not always meant to get your wish. The Nine of Cups is sometimes a wish. And I'll be honest, as a water sign, and with some heavy Saturn from my Capricorn influence, I often feel like I am at the mercy of a certain karma that I am going through the lessons of time, especially the older I get. Saturn rules the lessons of time. But this isn't about that necessarily. It is just talking about what may be going on for water signs this week. And I know that Mercury had started off in the retrograde in Pisces, which is a water sign. I'm not sure if it currently right now today is, but it could be, or it could be transitioning backwards into Aquarius. And that's still going to affect social situations. So watch out, all of you guys. And just remember, the grass is always greener. We're looking at, acquisitions to some degree, and maybe even we feel good about them. We feel loving. We feel we deserve them. They're our heart's desire, but they may in the long run not really be what we need to do. So that's what I have for water signs. And now we're finally going to move on to our air signs, or I'm sorry, earth signs. Excuse me for that. And the earth signs, there we go. The earth signs are, in fact, indeed, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. I should know these right off the top of my head. And sometimes I forget. But at any rate, those are the earth signs. They tend to be more solid on an emotional basis. It takes a lot to rock them. They tend to be pretty firm and resolved. They bear up well under certain emotional pressures, that kind of thing. And their word of the week is exchange. And that's kind of interesting, because the earth signs tend to be the ones that maybe are on a normal level, a little bit more avarice oriented. They tend to be about acquisition. I don't want to categorically say they're greedy, but at their extreme other ends, they could be, depending on other planets. They have that potential. But, on the other hand, water signs like Pisces, they tend to be overly emotional to the point that they become codependent. So all these things are based on your individual chart. I am only making very broad ideas here about that. Having said that, earth signs need to think about free exchange, and of course I'm sure that works for them, but that the idea that maybe you possibly have been not seeing that other people have something they really want to exchange with you, and that even if you hadn't noticed before, there may be some actual value between the transactions. So you want to think about that. And since it's about emotionality, maybe it's about forming friendships you normally wouldn't make. Maybe you don't like to cross over certain lines in your social circles, but maybe that could happen this week, because the Mercury retrograde is possibly affecting social situations, as I just mentioned. So let's get to some of that. We're going to shuffle the cards and see what's going on for the earth signs. And that will close our round, this session of Oberon's Outlook on the emotional exchanges. This is a part of TFT Tarot for Today, the Divine Dabblings of Oberon and Banshee. So we do hope you'll watch that too. Those are our live casts where almost anything can and does happen. But now we are going to, oh dear, drop some cards there. I'm not going to read those, although I'm going to take a quick peek. Well, that doesn't look really great. That was a little bit about fighting stuff, so that could be part of the emotional. Maybe I will get to that in a moment. But let's go ahead and get to these right now. And I know Banshee likes to say what falls to the floor comes to the door. I kind of go back and forth with that. It's sort of an intent thing for me. So I'm pulling those three cards now. Oh, how interesting. How interesting indeed. I thought I shuffled them well, but maybe I didn't. But this time for the earth signs, I have all cups, which are watery. I have the Prince of Cups. Okay. I have the reversed Queen of Cups. We had her last time for the water signs. And once again, right next to her was, this is why I don't think I shuffled them, the upright Nine of Cups. Like they just stayed in place, and I thought I shuffled them well, but you know what? That's the way these things work, I'm told, and that's what I actually believe, and that this is a reading predicated on your emotional lives, your friends, your circle, the people you care for, the people you're fighting with, all of that. And so here's what I got for you, Earth signs. You have the Prince of Cups. So to me, this indicates that you are more into your muse of poetry and possibly intuition. You are feeling maybe a little bit differently right now. Maybe it is the Mercury retrograde, but you're feeling a little bit more in your emotions. You're sort of feeling them more from a brotherhood of man kind of thing. So that sort of sounds like the Mercury in Aquarius, maybe. I don't know. But you also have that Queen of Cups, and now she's reversed. And so that is possibly indicating that maybe, and I'm thinking maybe you've been thinking about somebody who you've met or is in your life, and you're wondering about them because maybe they're not feeling calm enough for you. They're sort of feeling challenged. They're having some emotional difficulties, and maybe you're kept up with trying to help them resolve them. But the good news is you do have the Nine of Cups, and so this is saying that to some degree you're getting your wish here. You're getting to resolve this. Maybe this is about specifically a relationship that is a little bit tumultuous right now. So maybe the result within this next week or so is finding where happiness really lies between you and them. I'm just thinking that's probably what it is. So remember, of course, our word of the week was exchange. And so I'm just telling earth signs once again to remember that whether they're emotional relationships based on loving qualities or just on social structures that maybe we have to belong to, clubs or things, be kind, look for that value within others. I mean, maybe by going with somebody who you normally feel is overly emotional for you, maybe you achieve your wish, which is some exchange. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I want to thank you once again for tuning in to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. There'll be another one next Friday. That's March 6th. In the meantime, you can check out any of our wonderful little videos, including some ones about cats, on our YouTube channel. So until next time, thank you so much, and